Anxiety is another piece of information. It's a way that your body and your mind and your soul communicate with you and are simply letting you know that the pace that we're going right now is too fast and we need to slow down.
Welcome to the Phoenix Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Ray Kovacs, a registered nurse and reflector in human design on a soul mission to help women like you rise from life's ashes with abundant energy, purpose, and joy. Each week, we'll meet at the intersection of science, soul, and storytelling as we create a bridge between holistic women's health, the sacred feminine, and cyclical wisdom. You'll get tools and insights from experts and guests, helping you to thrive in every area of your life. So go ahead and pull up a chair, grab your favorite crystal or cup of tea, and let's rise like phoenixes together.
Hello, sister, and welcome back to the Phoenix Perspective Podcast. I am so glad you are here today. We are going to be talking about anxiety and one very common habit that might be making your experience of anxiety worse. And before I say anything else, I want to be very clear. I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I am a registered nurse and a womb priestess and a health coach. And these are my body, mind, and soul observations about anxiety after working with clients and my own experiences and the impacts of our habits and behaviors on how we experience our lives if we do have anxiety. This episode is about body awareness and getting curious about this one habit that doesn't seem like it matters so much, but could be affecting how you experience the day and the level of anxiety that you are experiencing throughout the day. I want you to know that if you do experience anxiety, that it doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're weak or that there's something wrong with you. It and it certainly doesn't mean that you're failing at life. Anxiety is another piece of information. And we talk about, cramps being information or headaches being information. Well, mental challenges like anxiety are also pieces of information. And it's a way that your body and your mind and your soul communicate with you and are simply letting you know that this the pace that we're going right now is too fast and we need to slow down. We need to slow our rolls. So, for many women I work with, they will say things like, I've always been anxious, or that's just my personality. And while anxiety can absolutely have emotional, situational, or even traumatic roots. There's also a physiological layer that we often overlook, especially for women. Your hormones, your cycle, your stress load, and your daily habits all influence how safe or unsafe you feel inside your body and how your body experiences that safety, which means that anxiety can not necessarily be like about what's wrong with you, but it's could be more about how your system feels, how supported your nervous system feels. And that brings me to the habit that I want to talk about. Please do not send out the pitchforks. Grab your pitchforks and your torches here. But the habit I want to address today is drinking coffee. No, I'm not here to take away your coffee, okay? But I want to help you build some awareness and get curious about how coffee or drinking caffeine can be impacting your experience of anxiety, okay? So let's keep this real simple here. Okay. Caffeine is a stimulant, right? Its job is to rev up the system. It gets it going, right? That's why we drink it. Oftentimes we drink it in the morning to get us going. So when you drink coffee, your body is releasing cortisol, right? Cortisol and adrenaline, these are the hormones that are like getting you going because that's what you need to run away from the tiger, right? And that is your main stress, your hormone and we call it kind of a stress hormone, but it's the thing that gets you going. So it helps you feel alert, it helps you feel energized, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad, right? I'm not painting the picture here that coffee is bad, but this is where it matters because if your body is already under stress, feeling undernourished or sleep deprived, or you're at a sensitive part of your cycle, then adding caffeine on top of an already stressed body um, can feel less like energizing and more like jittery, can create racing thoughts or like very fast thoughts, things even like heart palpitations and a sense of urgency or unease. In other words, the body experiences anxiety. For some women, caffeine doesn't cause anxiety, but for others, it amplifies what's already there. So if you already kind of struggle with anxiety, or if you experience cyclical anxiety where it shows up in certain parts of your cycle, then caffeine can really throw gasoline on the fire that's already there. And no one really explains that that actually changes over time. So, what worked for you when you were 20 or 25, maybe you were able to drink a lot of caffeine back then, but now you're 35 or 40 or 45 and caffeine's hitting differently, right? And so you've noticed an uptick of anxiety. Caffeine could be contributing to that. So, I do want to emphasize that we are cyclical, which means that our tolerance for stimulation, like caffeine, can change throughout the cycle. For example, during your follicular or your ovulatory phase, your body may be able to handle caffeine just fine. But as you move into your luteal phase or your late luteal, just before your period, you might be wanting more calm. Your body naturally wants more calm in order for progesterone to show up. And so at that point, she might not be tolerating caffeine as well. And caffeine can feel very overwhelming. So then you add in things like, drinking coffee on an empty stomach or having multiple cups throughout the day. 'Cause your girl here used to be a pot of coffee a day kind of gal, and I was drinking it all day long. So suddenly now your body feels like it's being chased all the time, even when nothing's wrong. And that can create these feelings of anxiety and can really exacerbate a body that's already, maybe prone to or sensitive to anxious thoughts. Again, this isn't about taking coffee away, right? It's more about understanding your body and matching stimulation with your capacity, right? Being aware of where you're at in your cycle and understanding that that can change throughout the month. And it's not something that has to be like an all or nothing. Although for some women they do make the choice to come off of caffeine. I've done that personally myself. I made the choice to go from a pot of coffee, full calf, to drinking decaf most days and sometimes having a half calf every once in a while. But it's it's more about seeing how it impacts you and understanding that caffeine can be creating more anxiety, especially at certain points in your cycle. So just like being aware of that. So what can you do if you love coffee but you don't love how anxious you feel, right? My first recommendation is to experiment a little bit. Just get curious. Like, ask yourself, like, how is coffee affecting me? Instead of just like, I have to get rid of coffee. No, like, just get curious about it. Ask yourself, how is it? Is it actually impacting my anxiety, or is Corey just full of it today? No, like, don't take my word for it. You try it out yourself. But here are some just like things to maybe try out and see how it impacts you. And then you make a decision for whether caffeine is something that you want in your life or not. So, first, make sure that you eat something before you have caffeine. If you're really sensitive to it, then having coffee on an empty stomach can increase. If you're noticing, especially you're having a lot of anxiety first thing in the morning, then maybe putting something on your stomach first before you have the caffeine or have the coffee can really help out and kind of soften that cortisol spike. So go for something with some protein in it, maybe some healthy fats, and that might help to reduce that. Waiting, maybe perhaps even before, hitting the coffee 5 minutes after you wake up, maybe wait a little bit. You naturally have a cortisol spike within that first hour of when you wake up. So it starts to come down after about 60 to 90 minutes. So maybe wait to have that cup of coffee until you've woken up. And I know that maybe sounds like counterintuitive. Well, that's why I drink coffee, is to help myself wake up. But just maybe try it out and see if the timing of it might actually change. Again, we're trying to reduce anxiety here, so caffeine could be contributing to that. If you're finding yourself really feeling anxious in the morning, then this might be a little bit of a switch that you could do. Perhaps be a little bit more aware of where you're at in your cycle and change the amount of coffee that you're having based on your cycle. I know for me, I cannot drink caffeine during my ovulation. I experience a lot of anxiety during that time. I'm already revved up. I have a lot of energy during that time. And so caffeine can really put me over the edge. So if you notice that there's times when your anxiety is higher from a cyclical perspective, then perhaps avoiding caffeine or reducing your caffeine intake during that time could be very beneficial for you. You can always kind of downshift or decrease your caffeine intake. Sometimes even just like, if you drink, 5 coffees in the morning, then maybe reducing it to 3 or 2 could be enough of an impact to reduce that anxiety. So try it out. See, maybe go for half calf options um or even alternating your days that you have caffeine. I know, I never recommend to like just go straight off of, going from drinking a pot of coffee to drinking no caffeine. God, that is asking for some withdrawal. That's not the way to do it. There's much more gentle ways to reduce your caffeine intake. So, I mean, go slow and maybe just see if reducing it a little bit will help that anxiety and see how it goes. Really, the important thing is just to pay attention how your body feels after you drink your coffee, and don't just think about how it tastes. I mean, I know it's a ritual. I love the ritual of drinking coffee, but understand that if anxiety is playing a part in your life and it's interrupting your life, it's keeping you from being, your most productive or having your most fulfilling relationships, then perhaps just getting curious about it, not judging the use, not judging, anything, but just getting curious about it can really help open the doors and open the window a little bit to seeing how you feel. And I would recommend, trying an experiment, see how this goes. And you might find that there is some space here for you to have a little bit more of a gentle experience and not as much anxiety.
Are you looking for a space to raise your health and vibration with other Phoenix sisters? Then come join the Vibrant and Aligned Facebook community. Inside this free group, you'll find health tips, resources, and motivation to live a life full of joy, health, and vibrancy. Make sure to check out the show notes for the link to join or search Vibrant and Aligned on Facebook. I can't wait to see you there.
I do want to offer a deeper layer about anxiety and, kind of the more spiritual components of that. And oftentimes, anxiety arises because we are moving faster than our natural tempo or than our bodies, minds, and souls want to go. Right? Anxiety is very forward thinking. If you're having anxious thoughts and you're feeling, it's very like go, 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 go. And so caffeine can be a tool, but it also can become a way of forcing ourselves to keep up with a pace that is not sustainable. Listening to your body's tempo means asking, do I need more stimulation or do I need some more support? Am I actually fueling myself or am I pushing myself too hard? Your your body oftentimes is not it doesn't want you to stop completely. It just wants you to like pay attention a little bit more. You don't have to quit your life. You don't have to quit, all of these things and like go move away to to a monastery and just like wrap yourself in a bubble here. No, it's more about just like listening and slowing down a little bit. And if you're noticing that you're having a lot of anxiety, or maybe it's like really ramping up, then maybe you're just pushing a little too hard and you need to slow down. Remember that caffeine is a stimulant. So when you're rushing already, or, maybe you're just using caffeine to like keep yourself going when really you want to slow down, this might be an invitation here for you to just take a moment, take some deep breaths, and ask, is caffeine really helping me here? Or is it just keeping me in a perpetual state of doing rather than me being a human being? Right. You are a cyclical being, and there are cycles to when we are to be expanding. And there are times when we do, when we do have to push through. We've got a big deadline. We've got some things we got to take care of. And I get it, there's been many a late nights when I've drank coffee trying to get things done. But the important thing is to realize that if we're doing that all of the time, then we're not giving ourselves the rest and the nourishment that we need. So, it is a tool. Coffee's a tool, caffeine is a tool, but are we using it wisely? And, are we caring for ourselves in the process? So if anxiety has been louder lately, then perhaps instead of asking like, what's wrong with me? Or why, what is wrong? Maybe just ask, what is what does my body and my mind and my soul need right now to feel safe? And if caffeine or coffee is a part of that conversation, then approach it with curiosity instead of criticism. You don't need to force this change and just maybe need to listen a little bit. And when we listen, then that opens up a conversation rather than us just like forcing our bodies to do all of these things. We actually become teammates and are able to keep going. So, thank you for being here, sister. And if this episode resonated with you, maybe share it with someone who feels anxious, who has been feeling a little bit on the anxious side lately, and she might have some things that she could benefit from listening to this episode. Now, of course, let me leave you with a card reading real fast. So, what would be supportive for our community today? And this is the card Rapture. Ooh, what a good word. Sensuality, love, devotion, romance, ecstasy, and pleasure. Girl, if this has been a sign to love on yourself today, then this is it. Oh my gosh. Take some time and love on you. Relish the life that you're living. Give your body a little TLC. If that includes some self love, then go right for it, sister. That's a great way to reduce anxiety. Just have a little self love sesh. But really, this is truly about, coming back into devotion with ourselves and realizing that the greatest love story that we are here to have is the one that we have with ourselves. And when we pour that love into ourselves and we really care for ourselves in a devotional way, there is such a deep pleasure and ecstasy that we can find, that quite frankly, it's hard to find anywhere else, that love that you can pour into yourself. And when you do pour that love into yourself, it just overflows into every single aspect of your life. So thank you so much for being here today. I love you. And I hope you have an amazing day. And remember, you are so worthy of living your vibrant life. Until next time, see you later. Mwah!
Yes, I am celebrating you because you just finished another episode of the Phoenix Perspective Podcast. I am so grateful we got to spend time together today. It's really been a blast. If this episode lit up your heart or sparked something in your soul, please follow the show and share it with a friend who's ready to rise too. Until next moon phase, remember, you are so worthy of living your most vibrant life. See you next time.